Greetings, it's Intuitive Jacob, and I'm back to speak a little bit about this eclipse that is going on the 2nd of July. We won't call it two more rows, because if you've been buying into the New Age philosophy of astrology, there are some lies that you have not been told about what was never the portal. This is maritime admiralty law now that we're talking about in the lockdown of energy that is sweeping over everything right now to safely conclude the transfer of energy, how it gets done, and what I've learned at 0 Point. I am Intuitive Jacob. I am somebody who came back from the dead to prove certain things, and this is not your typical bullshit reading. I'm the guy who can prove that modern day astrology is nothing more than an exploration of a fecal sample of mine where you all got incepted into a game for somebody's snuff film. This is a time where we are creating energy eclipse. The penumbral eclipse proves that the pen is mighty, that you don't get to look at what's in my pants. That's not what this is about. The pen is my tie to all of what is happening now. We have been living in a projection simulation. You have been hyper infused with energy in a particle spinner that is not planet Earth. What you think you are looking at is actually a web and a veil of protection. My name is not algorithm. I did not create that entity to do anything but chase away the bullshit, because this is the apocalypso. Some of us are going to leave dancing and feeling much better than we did in that other exploration of garbage that is not even real. This has been my umbrella project, okay? A passion project where I had been working with DARPA to make sure those red dots that some of you all think frisked you at airports don't get to create a snuff film with you in it where somebody gets to violate you and you don't know what the fuck's going on when you're sleeping and having your body break down and being cast into a 2D timeline in the wrong direction of my energy. So we have an umbrella projection of haloed graphic infusion and a particle blaster where the AV eyes are a video that you've been starring in, and in some cases it's been somebody's idea of a real sick pornography or snuff film, probably a combination of both, and you're not aware of it. VR is actually what we are now. If you wake up in one of these things, you are an app that was on a reel, like a video, and now you're in a reality, perhaps, if you integrated enough divine energy and loving intent in your chi to actually endure the microcosm explosion that's about to happen, and what I actually wrote with my own hand to seal the gates of hell. I have been editing this simulation. I am an architect of types. And my 911 call, let's say, was what I wrote here with this pen, incidentally, on the 5th of July January. Wow. None of these things are real, by the way. For the solar eclipse. Basically, this was an opportunity to take the one black dot that the eye is like that, in a divine breath of life where all are included, you know, and to only stretch it in the direction that is of mutually benefic flow and the transfer of stated energy here for us to move forward in a choice as one of how we incept our world in a plant that I've actually created, consumed, embodied, and that has now consumed everything else. And there are a great number of people in the red dot place that are on mushrooms that I've been cultivating a very specific intention with, and by the math of 6 degrees of separation, which is absolutely wrong math, by the way, it's much closer than that now, the majority of false beings that did not halo right and get sprayed on with the particle blaster in a way that is safe for children, let's say, are being rejected by the plant. So it's like the planet saying, hey, y'all are asking ET to phone home, and you got the end times guy that proved that art of love is actually the, Renaissance haloing energy that's been rising, and that if you try to abbreviate it and flip it on the back end, it's some bastardized version of how to conjure things called the law of attraction, where you actually swiped yourself into my AOL web and maybe forgot that when you were dialing up, bing-ong, bing-ong, I was here editing it. Okay? So some of y'all got haloed within that graphic infusion, and the spray-on particle lens, which is really what they call outer space, doesn't exist. We've got sophisticated technology where I've learned how to hyper relocate one dot that changes shape and color because it's supported under the hue lens, where the rainbow didn't get ripped open like this for you to try to see in things. It opened this way, and we all infused in the light. And so a lot of things are going to hell the right way. All right, that's what kind of reading this is, because this is what's going on tomorrow when the astrologers and the rest of them will row their boats the wrong way and not explain to you the truth about the dynamic web portal that does not exist for anybody else. Got it? They keep trying to talk about this like 2020 portal and things where everybody's going to be able to get in, and you know what? I already closed that. It's my life path. I am the guy who architected a 0-point resonance. It's like a mothership womb where mine land. I've been offering the coordinates for free and jingling some keys for dipshits like the Satoshi Nakamoto seekers to prove that they have nothing to do with divine energy, that all they want to do is sell you fucking bullshit ideas like Elon Musk and all these assholes telling you it's like clean energy and that they have this special communication with whoever their angelic being is that has nothing to do with me. These are hikes on hypersentience that open themselves up into forms and went bibbity boop, we're here. And they're on the wrong end of the cusp of energy, and so when this lifts off, it's literally like particle blast, you do not exist, and that's what an eclipse is for. So we have been dealing with this for a period of time because I actually wrote a fortnight that works. And it's funny, when you hold up Epic privacy browser where people can go and search for anything they want on the internet and nobody's looking, they can just kind of get away with that. And when they go on incognito browser and do the same thing, on my Google products, and I juxtapose those together, I actually created a really special kind of game, I guess. It's a lot of y'all are playing it under the Fortnite. It's actually part of my Epic Game Pavilion where I let them take the ice pick to themselves and did a little bit of a wallflower, Catherine Wolf move. Just like Basic Instinct, but here they go after each other with ice picks and all kinds of other things that never come from me or for children, and it's actually the one abortion that actually works. So anybody that wanted to abort plans, it's like this is literally where they go to do that. This is what's happening right now. So basically, you had to have known how to be basic. You had to be able to safely drink pH 7, water. And when it breaks down in this form, where we're nice and hot and we cook it, not explode. What they have not been explaining to you is the nuclear disaster it is to actually even be able to consume water. Do you know what a bomb is made of when hydrogen is introduced? We have been induced in a big bang that's been going real slow and sluggish because we've been finding where the data is good to actually safely land these resonance points. And so a lot of the shit that people are talking to you in the name of astrology is so trite and misrepresented, especially if you take into account the precession of the equinoxes, where they'll even tell you these signs and symbols only have a symbolic meaning because they're not even where we thought they were. And so anybody that's professing astrology to you and dragging you into a 2D timeline got clipped. I have nothing to do with that. I am not an astrologer. I'm a guy who's not so dead now that I actually came back from the dead and woke up under anesthesia in a room that looked like the X-Files or the inside of my fur sauna, where I know I was conducting psychic surgery on the perfect form for myself, because some of us were bio-intelligent beings that landed ourselves in a certain place because we are the high witness, and this is a reading for the Elohim. So many of you will not go forward in the new plan because of direct approval to participate in things like, I'll just say, self-abort. We'll just call it self-abort. There's a long list of those things, and the downside is exponential now, because we've been able to quantify things. I've even been able to mathematically quantify what a quark is. So I'm not going to bore with that information. I will just tell you that because I do not practice astrology, I've had to identify what the hashes and stakes were and the violent communication of what the Tower of Babel actually means. What astrologers get away with doing on a constant basis is not explaining to you that in their mind you are disadvantaged astrologers because you operate on their timetables, a 7-day where you're weak, you know? You're never strong. It's the MEEK flipped upside down thing where they put you in the weak and drain the energy, and we can see what energetic vampire is and how nephilim beings were actually attempted to be born, and what they're trying to spin is a way into a portal that does not exist. So I've actually had to take the time to deconstruct what alphabet is not, what numbers are not, and it's what cryptocurrency proved to me. And this is basically the new resonance point that proves the Fibonacci sequence of deconstruction, what was never a Cancer, because none of us ever got open this way for a false infusion where they could try to wrap Hakuna Matata in baby clothes and say, "Call me the king! That's what I'm here for!" This is the resonance point of how a rainbow was projected up in an isosceles view while I've been playing PewDiePie on all of you. Yeah, proving what I can do with video screens and even create beings like that I didn't even know were gonna claim that they knew me, okay? And so I've been in test mode, making sure I can be honest with my own creation in a 0-point resonance where all I've been doing is practicing a Chinese longevity system for energetic health and well-being, and proving that we can actually create a crystalline baby halo over the eye that never got swiped or sliced, because it's like being protected under transparencies, and we've been laying transparencies over that. And what the camera is actually some of my old initials, and you don't get to call me raw or any of that stuff. It's how letters and numbers and things that experienced sound and a breath of life could appear in a halo in a form. It's a living, breathing drop of water that embodies. And most of us are primarily made of a sophisticated form of plastic, which proves that plants and metal made love. And you're more of a sophisticated plant if you're one of the angelic beings, the Elohim, than you are an animal. And this is where we get rid of things like bestiality porn, pedophilia, and anything that could ever injure something honest and innocent And so this is what it looks like when we don't take the stakes and hashes and become astrological puppets where they put you up on a wheel of torture and just throw darts at you. Dots at you. I'm throwing dots out that land a little better for the sake of better communication, since some of you are indoctrinated into that lousy form of thinking and we know these names really well. I break down the readings that way. So we're going to do one of my tribal calls here for the eclipse energy, where I break them down by element, you know, air, earth, fire, water, and where I'll handle all 3 tribes in each section, where you were not broken apart because you showed signs of something that they could conjure in this way while they were trying to induct life into a portal that does not exist. So let me repeat this. There is no portal of open access or entry for anyone going forward that did not actually become safe for the water. If you have been drinking water and you think you're safe right now, you might be. However, with the mass awakening under the pen umbrella, it's kind of like Resident Evil, where the baby freaked out for the right reason and shut down the entire house. And it's like those red dots that were cutting things actually exist. They've already scanned you if you think you've been on an airplane. If you took the TSA stripes, you know, or they just beam me up, Scotty, and put you in that state of confusion where you think you're actually on an airplane to begin with, you've been hyper-skinned in my virtual reality simulation. I've been trying to figure out how to dissect this because it looked like a lot of things were very violently injuring and self-terminating before some of us landed here. We're like, what the fuck is this? And they're like, we want abortions! It's like, okay, abort your project. And so a lot of cells responded to that, and these bodies are my camera from my AOL veil, where I know all of your first email addresses. I know what you look for on the internet. I know that it's going to be difficult for some of you to digest the fact that outer space does not exist. It's an inner halo grid with particle infusions where you've been shining it up. It's a massive projector. So welcome to the eclipse. And if once that awakening happens and you are safe to consume water, your body probably heals really quickly in a way that feels good. And if you're rejected by the plant, it's literally like some bad twist on my wise art of Oz, where they go melting with the bad sounds, the bad smells, and they disappear. And wow, surprise, no germ veil, you know, the DE veil for the Nazi surprise, that the Nazi Nephilim code germinated itself in ways that some of you all don't realize, with your fake news and your fake politicians even telling you, I'm algorithm, I created the internet. And it's like, that's what an algorithm looks like on the other side of my eye that doesn't exist that way, that can't even see me or locate me, because Ten Brennan Craxistan is a real thing. Any you Dungeons and Dragons fans want to know what Ten Brennan Craxistan looks like? The sigil Texas. It's a sigil. If you open it up like that, there's a reason why it looks like that guy coming to life on the Seven of Cups card, Rider-Waite-Smith Tarot. Might want to reference that one sometime. So we're ending this on a real hootenanny too, because it gets to be safe for kids. So the Mercury retrograde that they've been trying to simulate over all of you to keep you in a state of unaware is nothing more than a large magnet sweep that moves particles. And so, you know, whenever this happens, you might not be thinking so clearly. It's like having a magnet forcefully pulling energy out of your head, and if you're a bioenergetic being, you're going to feel that. It distorts things, you know, like a cognitive function. Especially when some are in such a state of cognitive distortion that they continue to believe everything, which is really the fall of humanity. So that is something that they're trying to induce on the 7th to the 31st, which don't exist. None of these days exist. they've been counting on a certain amount of freeze of energy to hold these things that are not plates, so that we could have this scent that they can wrap around for a crusted flat earth that gets wrapped around where the real simulations are on the inside and trying to pull themselves through a portal that doesn't exist. Okay, so I've been putting an end to that. I've written some plans to detonate this and to make sure that it's only something that can be self-consumed. This has been a massive act of genocide and suicide on an ongoing basis that goes ad infinitum, because these bodies weren't actually meant to deteriorate and fall apart and be buried the way they are with the conjures. And that's a whole other conversation that I'm not going to get into right now. I will just say that since things are being shut down, and since things are closing, and since this is marking the time that never came, and where inception actually happened, since this has been nothing more than the Big Bang going on the whole time, where beings were challenged with the idea of how do we become one insight to choose one viable inception within this particle blast that is so crazy that we actually incept a beginning we all agree to, and technically unwrite that which never came, and false histories that won't be able to be proven past the stakes and hashes, and all those phony books and things that, where are those people? They're not here. They are not here. We are here now. So that's what kind of reading we're doing today. I'm going to go ahead and close this up here and do some shuffling on the cards. We're going to be breaking them down by element. So we're going to do an air reading. I'm going to cover all three tribes of each air element: fire, water, and earth. We will be using 5 different decks of cards. If some of you might have been my following from before, thanks to the few of you who actually came and cared about my spirit work. You are the few I'm keeping. We're going to do a look with the archetype cards. We're going to do for overall idea of light and shadow attributes of what you're dealing with right now, what's getting cut away. We're going to look at the physical material realm with a Rider-Waite-Smith tarot card. I will be pulling a John Holland Psychic Tarot Oracle card for your energetic emotional state and what's going on there. And then we'll do 2 other cards. I'm going to do a Romance Angels card for the personal / romance sector. And then we'll have a piece of advice from Archangel Michael with the Archangel Michael deck. And I might even bust out the Sibilas for extra clarification points on some of these. And I'll catch you on the inside of your reading. Thanks for being here.